able to send their kid to school, be able to have a living standard that they work so hard to get, and have a sense that those aspiring to the middle class will make it, and their kids will be able to do at least as well, if not better, than they were able to do. You know, the goal was clear. It was to ensure that when we move from recession to recovery, and we are moving from recession to recovery, we have made significant strides because of the women and men arrayed behind me, alongside me here, the economic team here. We've made great progress. But the truth of the matter is, unless middle-class folks end up coming out of this recession better off than they went into the recession, then we really haven't done our job. To help working Americans get by during these times, to get ahead, to improve their living standard, is what this is all about. And as a consequence of this, and people ask me all the time, how does this thing work, this middle-class task force? Well, every administration, Democrat and Republican, is concerned about middle-class middle-class folks. It's not like, I'm not suggesting this is a particularly partisan thing. The fact is, though, that what happens is most administrations get consumed from the moment they take office, not just ours, with urgent requirements that must be attended to. And what happens is each of the department heads finds themselves in a position where they're responding to the most urgent need the nation faces that falls into their jurisdiction. And what happens is the things that are important, that actually can impact on the living standard and, if you will, the sense of security middle-class people have, somehow they become secondary. The difference in this was the middle-class task force was set up. I call regular meetings. Every cabinet head comes, as well as the leading members of the economic team. And I have been a pain in the neck, along with the team behind me, of saying to all the cabinet members, make sure you've got someone in your department who every morning when they get up, they put both feet on the floor, they're thinking, what within my jurisdiction am I able to do to alleviate the pain the middle class folks are going through now and enhance the prospects for middle class families? You just heard from the Assistant Secretary of Labor. That's exactly what this is about. All the things that are going on, yet they went back and focused on. They focused on something that is not one of these headline issues that people out, will say, well, this is a big issue. Guess what, though? A lot of folks are not getting the best treatment, the best advice, and the most help in figuring out how to deal with their retirement plans. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. It will impact upon, one piece will impact upon the way in which families planning for their retirement are able to have a better prospect of their retirement benefits being enhanced and not diminished. Because the President and I have long held that you can't build a strong economy without a strong middle class, that becomes the bedrock of what we're trying to do here. Right now, the middle class in this country is nowhere near as strong as it needs to be. So the folks on the task force that we've had have been traveling across the country. All the people behind me here have traveled around. We've been into 60-some cities on the Recovery Act as well as the Middle Class Task Force initiatives. And we're hearing directly from people out in their communities about the challenges they face, the ideas they have that are going to make it better for them in their homes. Whether we're talking clean energy in St. Cloud or green jobs in Denver or manufacturing in Perrysburg, Ohio, or college affordability in St. Louis, nothing has been more valuable than going out and literally talking to Americans. And guess what? They're showing up. They're showing up. They want to be heard. My dad used to have an expression. He used to say, I don't expect the government to solve all my problems, but I sure expect them to understand my problems. And the first part of this is being an administration that understands their anxieties, understands their problems. And so we've identified a number of specific proposals and policies that are going to begin to ease the strain on working-class families. This morning, after years' work, we're releasing the first annual report, which I thought I had here, but I hope you have copies of it, the first annual report of the task force, which brings together all of the work that we've done and tells the stories of middle-class families we've spoken to and how we're going to move toward improving their living standards. Look, these are the realities. There is a gap, a growing gap between productivity and the middle class incomes, a rise in economic inequity that continues, and an ever-mounting challenge of balancing work and family responsibilities. Just ask any woman in this crowd, and a whole lot of men as well. Men and women across the country are sitting across their kitchen tables, they were this morning, trying to hide their worries from their children, worries about how they're going to maintain their lifestyle, how they're going to be able to send the kids back to college. Is we going to have enough to send Mary back to college next semester? Or how they're going to take care of, mom is really ill, and I don't know, does she move in with us, or what do we do when we're both working, and how do we get her to the doctor? And I mean, these are the things that people in my own neighborhoods talk about. These are the things the vast majority of the American people talk about. And so this report doesn't just tick off the problems. It offers some very specific solutions. It proposes specific initiatives aimed at addressing these quality of life issues facing middle-class families and families everywhere. And the solutions we laid out were all of the one I'm going to mention today and others that are in the report. Most of them were in the President's State of the Union message, and they're contained in our proposed budget. To quote my dad twice, my dad used to have a saying. He'd say, "Don't tell me what you value, show me your budget, and I'll tell you what you value." Don't tell me what you value, show me your budget. What are you spending money on? And then I'll tell you what you value. It's a pretty transparent way of figuring out what somebody values. Well, in the White House budget, we laid out for you what we value. We think it's important to double the child tax care credit for middle-class families with incomes up to $85,000 and increasing the credit for nearly every family making under $115,000. How many of you yourselves, or how many of you know people that the bulk of the second income in the household is eaten up by making sure you have quality daycare or quality care for your child? It's a big deal. Provide more resources for child care and development fund, money that means 235,000 kids will get quality care and their parents will get peace of mind. Giving additional funding so families who are caring for elderly parents can give them help, like home health care aides, respite care, preparing meals. Look, one of the hardest things, think about it. Again, everybody kids me. I'm always saying we should just talk English to the American people, you know. My neighbor who was an old Italian lady said, "Joe, speak English." Well, you know, what is it? What are the problems people face? You're both working, and your 87-year-old mother has to get to the doctor. How's she get to the doctor? She's not driving anymore. I mean, so this family respite, we're going to give money to states who have these programs to fund these kinds of everything from transportation to senior centers, the things that make a difference in the quality of life for people. We're also ensuring that those students who have had to borrow money, which is almost everybody I know, through a federal loan program, or in this case, federal loan program, never have to pay back more than 10% of what they're earning, as long as they're paying that back. Never have to pay back more than 10% of what they're earning in any paycheck, in any, of their total income. Otherwise, what we do is we make them make god-awful choices. As the president says, you shouldn't have to, in order to go to college, pay these, I'm paraphrasing, pay these exorbitant long-term costs for a college education. We're offering more workers better access to retirement plans, by making sure that employers enroll you in a retirement plan unless you choose to opt out, so middle-class American can save money and save it confidently, so you don't have to. All the studies these guys have shown me